Raw Christian Men's Podcast, tackling the important issues from a biblical perspective.
Welcome back to the Raw Christian Men's Podcast, a place for authentic, real-life discussion on faith, masculinity, and living as a Christian man in today's world. On this episode, we're going to be discussing health and fitness and why it should be one of our top priorities. So, as usual, I have Luke Rude and Kyle Miller. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Doing good? All right. And we have two special guests with us today. We have Kevin Jewell. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
And we have Charlie Fourkiller. How you doing, Charlie?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Good, man.
So I want you guys real quick, just tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do, why, because we're talking about fitness, so why it's important for you and, to have a high level of fitness.
Well, obviously my name is Charlie Fourkiller, and I'm a proud dad. So that's a big one for me though. But I've been a policeman everyone always asks me what I do for a living, but I've been a policeman. I'm going in 15 years of this department, did a couple years in Arkansas. So I've been around law enforcement my entire life. Third generation policeman here in Kokomo, Indiana, and super proud of it. I got a little boy at home, so I don't know if he's going to do the same thing as me though, but maybe steer him in a different direction when he gets a little older. But I'm a lieutenant in a train division, offshore recruiting, public information, and whatever else they got going on that day they need me to do. But having a great time. I love what I do. Wouldn't do anything different.
Awesome. So that was with Kokomo Police Department, right?
Yep.
Okay. So Kevin, a little bit about you.
Yeah, my name's Kevin Jewell, married, have a 4-year-old boy. I went into the Marine Corps straight out of high school. I spent 7 years there. Obviously you need a high level of fitness to be in the military. And, I was blessed to be in some pretty awesome units that required an even higher level of fitness. And so, that kind of raised the standard at a very young age for me. And I've been able to kind of try to carry that into where I'm at now. As soon as I got out in 2015, me and my wife moved home. While I was going to school, I joined CrossFit Kokomo as a coach. And then a couple years later, I bought the gym from our previous owner, Andrew. And we just kind of switched roles. He became a coach. I became the owner, and I've been owning the gym since November 1st of 2018. And that's what I do. I own CrossFit Kokomo, and day in and day out, I coach athletes from, high school all the way up to 75, 80 years old.
So it's safe to say that you guys both have very physically demanding jobs. So it's very important to be pretty peak physical fitness. And
yeah, and that's a relative term. I mean, for what I do, I harp on, wellness and longevity, and, my role is not necessarily as important as, the police departments. They need to be in physically fit shape to keep us, to keep our community safe. I need to be fit for life and for the future. So, just different walks of life, and, peak fitness is a very relative term in our world.
Yeah.
What Charlie needs his fitness for, and what the, police department, fire department, sheriff's department, what they need it is significantly different than what, a mom of 3 kids needs it for, but one's not more important than the other.
So we'll just dive right into it, and thank you guys for coming. Is fitness, or focusing on health and fitness, is it considered biblical? And I would argue yes, but to an extent, right? One being that our bodies are a gift from God. Once we become Christian and the Holy Spirit comes into us, that's when we become a temple for God to dwell within us. So we basically owe it to God to take care of this gift that He's given us, right? But I would say to an extent, because at a certain point, when we stop focusing on the need or why we're doing it, it can cross over into vanity, and we're doing it for the wrong reasons. Would you guys agree with that?
100%. Yeah.
Yes.
I see it, I own a gym, obviously. So it's not an uncommon thing for fitness to take different turns in different aspects of people's lives and where they're at. And they may, some people may be working out for different reasons, and some of them may be for personal reasons more than anything. And while I don't think there's anything terrible with that, it can also go down, can go down south really fast too. So, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look better and wanting to lose weight and wanting to, do A, B, and C. But if that turns into an unhealthy and toxic relationship with fitness, that's where, you have to be very careful and draw a line somewhere.
Yeah, it's wanting the best for ourselves. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to be the best that we possibly can be. But yeah, I agree with you. Like there's that fine line I think that we can cross when we're so focused on the end goal that we take our minds off of focus off of why we're doing it, I guess.
Right.
So
I would agree with that.
I pulled a couple scripture just kind of going along with what we were talking about. One would be 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20. It said, "Don't you know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies." And then it goes on to 1 Corinthians 10:31. Says, "Whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God." So I think those are two pretty glaring pieces of scripture that justify, like, you have a gift from God that is your body. It is your duty to take care of it the best that you possibly can. And far too often, and I know I'm guilty of this, like we fall short of that, I think.
I just look at it. I look at different ways of fitness for my profession, and then fitness as general freedom in this world. Like to be a good dad, to be a good brother, to be a good son, to go out and do whatever I want to go do. But it's also a freedom of like mind of like I'm able to be fit. I'm able to go do things that I want to go do at any moment, anytime. If I told somebody, "Hey, do you think that dealing with mental illness should I go to a room and deal with it by myself, or should I go outside and do something physical?" I would say the physical well-being is the most important to me and for my life. It clears my head. It clears everything for me to go out and take on the world. But as a profession, I mean, it's necessary. It's my first line of defense every single day I go to work. And it's not only for myself, but the people that I serve.
Because, I mean, with your job as a law enforcement and then you go into the military, I mean, essentially it can become a life or death situation. Like if you fail to prepare physically, then you are not only putting yourself at risk, but you're also, the people that you're working with.
Yeah, my colleagues, but I mean, obviously we took the oath of like make sure I protect the people that I'm out there in the community serving. Mm-hmm. But I mean, our fitness we can take anywhere right away. I heard this thing on maybe a podcast or something I've seen on TV where, man, you can take that fitness anywhere. It's the first thing you take to TSA. You know what I mean? I can take it wherever. It's my first, and the officer presence as well too. If somebody sees you and they see that you take care of your body first, they're probably gonna give you a little more respect. And then you have confidence in your fitness to where you're probably gonna give that person a little bit more respect, and you're confident in your capabilities as physically that you may not have to use so much force as an officer. So it's like the general first thing I do is show up, and do I look the part and act the part as a professional? But I grew up very fortunate to have parents to tell me this, and not everybody does that. So it's like I'm obligated to make sure I share that with everyone else, that not everybody has a mom or dad to tell them like what they should and should not act like in the right way. Yeah. So my dad was always physically fit and able to prepare to be a good dad, and first and foremost, but then also to be able to do his job professionally. And
you brought up two other points that I really agree with. Like one was having children. So you want to be healthy enough to be able to enjoy your children, but you also want to set a good example. Yeah. Right. And then also from a mental health perspective. Yeah. I think I've seen a thing, and maybe TikTok is just going crazy though, but they said everyone's willing to die for their children, but like, are you willing to like live and being physically able to do so? It's like it's everything to me. I mean, it's something I think about all day long, and we do as a family. Make sure that everything I do with him is some kind of physical aspect of life. But it gives him freedom to go out and challenge himself. Yeah, and not only that, like I would say from a protection standpoint, being men, like our job is to protect our family, right? how are you really expected to protect your family if you're not making sure that you're strong enough or fit enough to be able to? And I saw something a few times on Instagram, I think, but they were talking about there was a pedophile that when he got caught and they were asking, kind of interviewing him, trying to get his way of thinking. And he said that he always, when he picked his targets, he would look at the dad.
Oh, yes, I've seen that before. Maybe it's on social media too. Like, you get a lot of stuff on social media though, but yes, I mean, even the handshake of like, you never know when you meet somebody at the beginning, like that first firm handshake, are you confident in your physical fitness?
Yeah.
It's step one. And then they can kind of feel that too. As a man, do you look the other person in the eye? Even if you're talking to a woman though, but the immediate handshake and your presence, that goes with officer presence as well in my job. So, I mean, as an owner, I mean, CrossFit, if you walk up and you look the person in the eye with a chin up, chest out, and a firm handshake, you're like, okay, immediately, like it's the standard is set.
Yeah. Something that I thought about. So this past weekend, we were the host for an event called Ainsley's Angels, where we would run and push what they call a chariot. It's like a big wheelchair, a big pink wheelchair with somebody, a child or even an adult with a disability where they could not run. And so, we can talk about that at a different day, but essentially it was us pushing them because they couldn't.
Yeah.
So God gave us the ability, God gave me specifically the ability to push somebody who couldn't. And, shame on me if I don't take advantage of that to the fullest potential. And I think that people don't realize what they're capable of, but it's comfortable sometimes to stay in that, like, it's hard to do hard things. And so when they are confronted with something hard, a lot of times they will not see what they're able to do. And, if God gives you the ability to do something and you don't do it for the betterment of something else, then, are you doing what you're called to do?
Yeah.
And so I think that, this past weekend we had, her name is Shannon, she wrote, and Lynn, they did 48 miles for this cause. That's a huge feat. And they were only able to do that because of physical fitness. Right. So I think that being, mentally tough, plays a huge role in that. And we had a saying in the Marines, if it looks clean, smells clean, it's probably clean. And that goes along with if somebody comes in, they look fit, they shake your hand, they look you in your eye, they probably are, they probably fall in that realm. So, I'm a big believer in, first appearances, go a long way.
Yeah. I think, going along with what you said, like far too often we take advantage of what we actually have the capability of doing.
Sure.
And we get to the point where we just don't do it. And we're like, oh, it's okay. I can go on a walk anytime. And then you have events like Ainsley's Angels where and then like even the hero workouts that we'll do at the gym, it really puts stuff into perspective. And I think you've said it before, like you're going through, especially for the hero workouts, you're going through a very tough workout. But if you think about it, those guys that you're honoring with that workout that can't be there anymore, you're just going through a very minute bit of suffering compared to what they did.
Yeah. If we say during our hero workouts, if the hardest part of your day is this 25, 30, 40 minute workout, if that's the hardest part of your day, then your day's probably not that hard in the grand scheme of things. There's officers that are, fighting for their lives on a literal daily basis. And we're doing a workout. You're slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You're sweating a little bit, but today we just finished doing a workout today. And it was like, I will say that today's workout was arguably the hardest one that we do all year long, just happened to be that way. But I told everybody, like, in the next 45 minutes, you're going to be in your car, like going home. So like, it's not that bad. If you think about it in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad.
Yeah. So we'll just go ahead and dive right in. With you guys here, I want to really pick your brain on some things, and I want to get your perspective rather than me just talking. So in your experience, what are some of the greatest misconceptions about fitness that men in general, but like Christian men, might have, and how they can overcome those misconceptions?
That you have to be fit to start exercising.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
I think you probably see that a lot with the CrossFit.
I get that all the time. I can't do that. Or I can't XYZ. If I were to just drill something in, it would be, to your question, what's a misconception? It's that people think that there's an entry level to fitness. And I will never draw parallel lines between Christianity or religion and CrossFit, but there's no entry level to go into a church service. There's no entry level to like start a relationship with Jesus. There's no, like, you need to do counseling before you come into church.
Yeah.
Like, come as you are.
Exactly.
Like, come to the gym as you are, and we will get better as we come. You will get, your relationship with Jesus will get better as you come to church. Your fitness will get better as you come to the gym. And so, again, I am by no means like drawing that Christian or, religion and fitness are one and the same, but there are a lot of similarities in the sense of, like, I don't care how fit you are. I don't care how fit you used to be. I'll hear that a lot. When I was in high school, I was, XYZ. I'm like, well, that's great. Well, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome. But right now, what can you do? And that's without a doubt my biggest misconception is people think that they have to be a certain level of fitness to do any exercising, not just CrossFit, but I can't run, so I'm not going to walk. Like, well, what are we doing? Like, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I probably took the words out of my mouth. I mean, it's really good. I like that. People walk in. I mean, I just coach every now and then, but people walk in and are like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, good. You know what I mean? Then you're open-minded.
You're here.
Yeah, you're here. The hardest part is walking in that door.
Yeah.
Leaving your ego out to the side, not looking to your left and right of like what he's doing or what she's doing. It took me anything in life worth having. It comes at a price, and I'm not saying I paid the price though, but I mean I used to look at the left and right of me like what are they doing? Am I strong enough? Am I fast enough? But then one day I walked in, I'm like, man, I'm good for just me, just getting a little bit better every day, and that's whether just me moving or having a good outlook on what I'm doing that day, and just being grateful that I'm here though. But the hardest part is just walking through that door.
Yeah.
Or just, it don't matter what door. It don't have to be CrossFit. It could be at the YMCA. It doesn't matter what it is. As long as you're doing something or just taking a walk outside.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you guys are saying. And I know, like, I'll talk to Kayla when she's on her way home from the gym, and she'll kind of be griping a little bit, like, oh, man, he walked up, and he's like, all right, let me see you do the weight. All right, put more on there.
Yeah, I mean, people don't know people don't know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And, again, I won't make this a plug for CrossFit Kokomo, but, people don't know what they're capable of. We have so many people that if you were to ask them 365 days ago, like, hey, this is how fit you're going to be, and tell them that a year ago, they're not going to believe you, because in the moment they think that where they're at is the best they can be.
Yeah.
But the day in, day out grind, like, all of a sudden you're able to add weight to your bar. You're able to walk faster. You're able to lift more weight. You're able to whatever. But, like, you have to, like Charlie said, you've got to be able to walk in the door and be willing to do that. We have so many people that have lost 70 pounds, and where they're at, they're not happy. But if I were to say, hey, a year ago, you're going to lose 70 pounds, they're going to be ecstatic, so, but if you don't try and you don't do it, you're never going to know. And that can go with anything. That can go with studying to be a lawyer. That can go with your journey with Christ. That can go with anything. If you don't start, you're never going to get anywhere. And so, you've got to be willing to put yourself out there and to try something, and just, when somebody tells you you can do more, they're probably not lying to you.
And you guys say it all the time, like 1% better each day.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a very cliche thing to say, but it's also very true. Like, there are days where you will come in, just by coming in, you're getting better. You're getting better mentally. Maybe you didn't want to be there. Maybe you were just tired and you're like, I don't want to go to the gym today, but you still went. Like, you might not get stronger, faster, fitter, but maybe you just got 1% mentally stronger. Or maybe you come in and you lift heavier than you had in the past. You got 1%, stronger. So, not every day is intended to be your world's best workout. That's not realistic, because if you keep getting 5 pounds stronger every day, eventually you're going to be in the Olympics and you're going to be the world's strongest man or woman in the world. Some days getting better just means doing something you didn't want to do and becoming mentally tougher.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll make the argument that that's more important half the time than being stronger, is being mentally, like, in it more than physically in it.
Yeah, being mentally strong is doing things you do not want to do.
Yep.
I mean, not every day you get up there going to go work out. Especially, I get up pretty early, but just to get my mind going, I got to walk around the house, check the perimeter, you know what I mean? Get some water in me, and then I had that way, though. But I always felt better. Even if I didn't do really well in the workout or I'm just knowing it's a task I just checked off. I think humans are like routine-oriented, and it's just to keep on that same path is a huge deal.
I would say that one of the biggest reasons for me getting back into just working out and trying to take care of myself is on a more routine schedule. I'd say that one of the biggest factors was like mental health. Like I was being in a darker place and having like anger issues. To me, like at that time, just going out to the garage and lifting weights out in the garage, that was an outlet. Like, and that kind of fed into everything else. And then I kind of branched out, stepped out of my comfort zone, and stepped into the CrossFit gym. And then here I am a little over a year later. And
you're killing it, man. Like you're one of the people that we talk about at the coaches meeting sometimes that, you know, you came in knowing nothing and you listened and you did all the things that we asked you to do. You didn't do too much. You did exactly what we had asked. And that's why you've seen, you know, the gains that you've gotten. You know, you said something that is an interesting time right now because 5 years ago we were about to shut the gym down because of COVID. And, you know, which is fine, right? Like I get it. And then they started opening up businesses again, based on, what was the word they used? Non-essential, essential and non-essential.
Mm-hmm. I got a cup at my work and they said essential, my badge number.
And, you know, and again, I won't go any political route, but I will say that the fact that they weren't putting exercise businesses under essential, you know, now that I know what I know now, blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, you know, our gym, I know for a fact our gym has recovering addicts. They have people with, you know, depression. They have people with anxiety. And coming into the gym is their outlet. Like that's what makes them, you know, if you guys know anything about addicts, they typically take one addiction for another. And sometimes like exercise is that addiction. Well, when you take that away from them, now what?
Yeah.
You're telling us that, you know, now again, I understand like, you know, we had to do our part, but you know, now what we know now, I think that people saw just how important exercise is, physical health, obviously, but like mental health is.
And I think a lot of people
insane.
But community as well. It's like being around people that are like-minded. Like I think I've not stopped doing CrossFit, but I've had to leave because of work scheduling. But I mean, right now, if you told Kevin and me, hey, you go do your own program and everything else, no problem. But it's the community aspect when I come back to it. It's like, man, being around like-minded people, because I mean, not every day I want to go there and I feel right, but
yeah, I mean, I own the gym, and that like there are days where I'm not excited to exercise. Like, and that might be a shock for some people. I mean, my coaches know, like I think people think that when you own a gym that I'm just like working out all day and throwing weights around and doing muscle ups. Like there are days where it is really hard for me to work out because when you're in that arena for 10 hours a day, there are times where I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to exercise. I'm just like everybody else. But what keeps me in it are like my coaches, my friends, the people that are in the classes and like-minded people. You know, I'm the world's biggest advocate with mental health and exercise because like eventually you're going to come to a point in your life where fitness and exercise becomes more about your mental state than your physical state. It will come. And it will come in waves. There's going to be times where you're here to get fit. There's going to be times where you're here to clear your mind. And they can go back and forth. But before we start every workout, we go around and we tell everybody, like, go tell your friends, have a good workout. So we'll take like 60 seconds and you'll just see everybody like go shake everybody's hand or give them a high five. And I've had multiple people tell me before, like, I wasn't going to come today, but I'm so glad I did. Like, thanks for having a place for me to come to. I don't care about how much weight they lifted today. I don't care about how many rounds they got. I don't care about any of that. I care that they came in, they took care of themselves for an hour, and that fills their cup to go pour into whatever else they've got to fill. So yeah, I mean, if you're talking about mental health, you're not going to find a bigger advocate than me and the business that I've got.
Yeah. And I mean, the community, I think, is huge. And you have so many people that are championing for you that, like, and this isn't just in the CrossFit gym, but like,
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, like you can see it if you go to the Y or whatever. You got guys that you see on a daily basis. You recognize them. You know, you're rooting for them. You know, you help them out. You spot them. But I've noticed that's huge when I stepped in the CrossFit gym. Like, you have somebody who might be struggling or whatever they're on. Like, they could be the last person to finish that workout, but you have everybody else that's working out with them, standing around, cheering them on, helping them out. Like, it's
And again, if you want to tie that into, you know, the religious aspect of that, that's somebody struggling with something in their life, and then somebody, again, not saying we're the same, but if you want to draw parallel lines, you know, somebody praying for somebody, or somebody, you know, getting coffee with them and checking in on them, you know, so, you know, tons of similarities between religion and, you know, fitness outside of just exercising and being strong, right? Like there's just a lot of similarities. I feel like that could be tied into one another for sure.
So I think we've already kind of touched on this question, but I'll ask it anyways. Like, why should we focus on health and fitness, and what are the benefits of healthy living? So we've kind of already touched, like, physically and mentally, but
yeah, I mean, I got a 4-year-old son, and, you know, when he comes, he's obviously at the gym a lot. Yeah. You know, my goal is to teach him that, you know, exercise is not a punishment. You know, we have a kids program that we've had in the past, and it, you know, it'll come and go. We tell the kids, you know, exercise isn't a punishment. And I think that's a misconception too with kids, that, you know, you drop a ball, you run 2 laps. Yeah. And so you know, their brain tells them, if I do something wrong, I have to run. Yeah. So then they end up not enjoying fitness. Whereas, you know, I'm trying to teach my son, like, hey, we're jumping on the we're playing on the boxes, but really we're stepping up, and we're swinging on the rings, and it's fun, but we're teaching body control, and we're trying to teach him those things. So I think that teaching kids, especially, you know, that's so important for the lifestyle that we want to live. We want to be active. We don't want our physical abilities to dictate what we can and can't do. Yeah. You know, if you want to go to Disney World and walk around for 12 hours a day, like, be fit enough to do so.
Yeah. It's freedom.
It's free. Yeah. Like, if you want to go, one of my clients, her name's Diana. I've had her for years now. She wanted to go horseback riding. She's, at the time, I think she was probably, I'm not going to say how old she was. I don't know.
21.
She struggled. She knew she was going to struggle getting her leg up and over onto the saddle. And so for a couple months, you know, we worked on getting some better hip mobility, and she was able to ride a horse, you know. So had she not taken care of herself, she wouldn't have been able to ride a horse. Yeah. You know, so yeah, it's that freedom that Charlie was talking about. Being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it, not having your physical abilities limit you and how you live.
But also it prevents injuries. Man, I mean, think about how many times you've ever caught yourself from falling. If you weren't strong enough with your grip or your legs or your arms, I mean, you probably would have fell and hurt something. Yeah. But also, like, the muscle structure over your bones, and make sure they don't break. And I think about times I've been hurt at work, and I feel like I would have been hurt worse if I wasn't somewhat fit, able to do my job.
And I think it's a longevity thing as well. Yeah. Right? Like, if you think about, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I would say, 40, 50 years ago, but, like, compared to now, the obesity rate and, like, the childhood obesity rate, I mean, it's astronomical.
Yeah, that's a whole different discussion for a whole different day. But yeah, I mean, we have a program we call it our Senior Strong, and they're all 70 years or older. And, you know, my goal for them is to not have them deadlift their body weight and back squat 300 pounds. My goal for them is to keep them out of the nursing home. Moving. Like, literally keep them out of the nursing home. And they're, you know, we have a thing that we say, we want to keep them out of a state of decrepitude. Mm-hmm. We want them to be as independent as possible for as long as possible. Yes. You know, we'll work on balance. We'll work on burpees. You know, a lot of people think burpees are a punishment, when in all actuality, they are arguably the most functional thing you can do in life, and getting up and getting down. So, you know, we teach them how to do that. We have them squat to a box. You know, a fun fact is the average American toilet is 18 inches off the ground. So we have them squat to 18 inches, because if they can't squat to a toilet,
Yeah.
Now what? Now they're in the nursing home. So yeah, freedom is huge in that aspect of it.
Well, with the amount of burpees that you program, I feel like
Sometimes it's overkill.
sometimes it's a punishment.
Well, it's just how fast you're supposed to do them. When you do them fast, they're hard.
Yeah. So as far as like men in general, do you see that they have any kind of unique challenges when dealing like with fitness or getting into fitness compared to women?
Yes. 100%.
I mean, other than like the obvious physiological, but like,
yeah, I will say that men most of the time can be more difficult to convince to exercise.
Really?
I would say so. And I only say that because men don't like to be, I don't think they want to be judged, and they want to look alpha. You know, if a guy is at the gym and there's another guy lifting more or looks, you know, quote unquote better, that could be a turnoff and an intimidating thing. And now some guys don't care. Some guys are just like, I'm here for me. But I could, at least in my world, you know, we've got some really strong women in our gym, and I have seen guys not come back.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because women are strong. And I always say it's not, I got to make sure to say this. It's not that they're stronger. They just know how to move their body in a more advantageous way to lift the weight. Because if you were to say, again, I'm not condoning this, but if a man and a woman were to wrestle, the man's probably going to win, right? They are stronger. But if you tell them, hey, I'm going to have you do this with a weight, and the girl knows how to do it, they're probably going to lift more. And for a guy, that can be a huge turnoff.
I was extremely humbled when I first started, like just seeing the amount of like how fit the women are, and just
or smaller guys or men that are not as big as you. So but again, you are stronger than me. If you and I were to get like tussle, get into a hand to hand, you are going to probably manhandle me. But because I might have moved a barbell more than you, and I know how to maneuver that barbell and maneuver my body, I will be able to lift more weight.
Yeah.
For some guys, they don't like that.
Now,
they don't like to be, you know, outlift by somebody not as big as them.
Now, would you say that's like, it depends on whether it be a mentality or...
It's 100% mentality.
Because I think I've suffered from it. I call it ego lifting.
Yep.
Where like I go in like, okay, I know that I need to work on this movement, so let's just focus on like getting the movement down or whatever. Like I'm not going to lift super heavy because the back's feeling a little tender or whatever. And then I got somebody that's 10 years younger than me lifting next to me. I'm like, okay, I need to be lifting what he's lifting. And I think sometimes I've gone a little.
I don't know if you see it as a coach, but I see it all the time.
Oh, I see it all the time. I see it.
I shouldn't say all the time, but I have seen my fair share of guys.
I wouldn't say I'm 100% guilty of it though, but I've thought about it. Like, man, I shouldn't do this because he's stronger than I am, or he does a lot more weight than I am, or he looks a certain way. You know, he may have that tough guy look, which I don't have. I've never had I'm 39 years old and can't grow a beard for now. You know what I mean? So,
I can grow a beard, but it's very trashy.
Real trash. Not me, man.
This is about all I got.
Yeah, but I come from a culture like in law enforcement where I don't know why I go back to. I think that when you guys are talking, been a policeman, like I said, in my 17 years, but it's the kind of like the tough guy mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as our department, we try to shy away from that because it doesn't always work that way, because we have people that are coming from all kinds of different statures, the way of different backgrounds, the way they look, and we make it really simple. It's either you're trained or untrained.
Yeah.
I don't need you to act a certain way or look a certain way. I just need you to buy into what we're doing. And it's kind of like at the CrossFit gym. It's like, hey man, you don't have to be a certain way. Just buy into it, and we'll all pay off here soon.
Yeah. And I don't want to say or make it sound like that I'm trying to come off as like this kind of machizo tough guy mentality. Like for me, I think it's more of like a competitive nature.
Yeah.
Like growing up into sports, and when I get, working out with a group of people, and then I'm like, okay, well, I need to be up with these guys, or I need to row harder. I need to bike.
But it's not even the CrossFit thing, because I'm like, I've been working out like since the old days at the YMCA downtown to like.
I mean, you just always see guys. Guys always they're always looking up like what's he benching over there?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
dude. It's been like I've done the bro gym stuff. I mean, did it forever, and I thought like that was fit. And then I got surrounded some people that are really fit with a capital F. Like I'm fit. There's people that are in shape or aesthetically look good, but like there's a different kind of fitness out there that's like okay, you kind of get putting back in place where people really are though. But it's the ego. Leave it at the front door. Don't think about look to your left or right. Just worry about yourself.
It's definitely bit me more than it's benefited me, I would say. Like I usually come out too hot on workouts because I'm trying to keep up with somebody, and
But everyone's suffering. The CrossFit gym, that's why I've always went back to it. And I promoted a ton, though. It's not like a shout out to the CrossFit Kokomo, though. But there's no mirrors in there, man. So everyone's suffering. I've worked out by myself. I've had a coach literally just say, hey, you're the only one in class. And he watched me do, I forget how many burpees it was or whatever it was. He just counted for me. And I've also worked out with somebody almost twice my age, you know what I mean? And barely, and then doing everything modified compared to what I was doing. I'm like, what am I thinking about? Why am I getting so uptight about all this stuff? It's just movement for 45 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, whatever it is, and then go back home and keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah,
it's just a checkbox.
What you had said, like men are supposed to protect their family, and that's like we have this inherent and almost ingrained in us DNA that like I don't want to be viewed as weak.
Yeah,
and the gym is about fitness essentially, and so if somebody feels inferior, there's a great chance that they're not going to put, and they might work out alone. Yeah. Well, that's great. Like I do that, but I think if if you live in this state, in a state of comparison, what do they say? Comparison is the greatest thief of joy. If you're just always comparing yourself to the next person, it's gonna not end well at some point.
I've seen that.
I've lived that. I've lived trying to chase somebody, in a workout. And while that can be a healthy competition, and it can also turn, just like anything, it can turn toxic, and it can turn into an ugly relationship with fitness. People do that with food, with relationships. So you've just got to be very careful with it.
I think it's a good segue to the next point. What would you say are some common barriers that prevent men from prioritizing health and fitness?
EGO.
Oh,
that's
their ego. I mean, there's a lot of barriers, right? Like I used to not make fun of Charlie. So Charlie's one of my coaches, really good buddies. Like you want to talk about like the dude, like Charlie's one of the dudes. Like I've been in some high highs and some low lows, and he's been the same dude throughout. But early on when I was coaching, he would always be like, hey, I got my son, I can't be here. And I'm like, man, just get in here. It ain't that big of a deal. Get in here. Well, now that I've got a son, I'm like, hey, like if it's between my son and coming to the gym, there's a great chance I'm picking my son. And I see that now. So, a legitimate barrier could be the season you're in.
Yeah.
If you are in just a wild season, it could make it hard to exercise. Having said that, there's a good quote. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Mm-hmm. Charlie works out every day at 6 a.m. and then has a full day. So if he didn't work out at 6 a.m., he probably could not work out at any other time. We have our 5 a.m. class is 25 to 30 people deep, Monday through Friday. Most of the time, those 5 a.m.ers are not picking that hour because they like it the most.
Yeah.
There's like 2. Mm-hmm. Everybody else, they pick that hour because if they didn't, they would not be able to.
Yeah.
So, everybody is dealt the same 24 hours, 24 hours in a day. So outside, I think that's a barrier is, the season that they're in. But, I always push back with, what can you do? Okay, if you can't come to the gym, what can you do? Find something to do because, you've got to do something. You can't do nothing.
As long as you're not staying sedentary. Because it could be something as simple as, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to walk up and down the street for 15 minutes.
Obviously, my business is CrossFit Kokomo, so I push that. But if somebody tells me they're in a season where they're just like, hey, like I can't make it in, I need to pause. I'm going to try to just run when I can. I'm going to try to squeeze in a 30-minute, HIIT workout from YouTube. Like, okay, like we hope to see you back. But that I would say that's a barrier. A legitimate barrier is the season that they're in.
I would say that you being so good with some of these people, I've seen it before, and I promoted it. And I'm like, hey, if you got something going on, it's okay. We all got something going on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the only person you would never find it. I mean, I've never been around another owner in my life where they've sympathized like Kevin has. He's like, we all got stuff going on. So if you need to pause it, no problem. And so when somebody does that, now he could have been rude and be like, you know what, you're done, but here's a cancellation fee of $150. You're like, man, and then I'm not gonna do that again.
Yeah.
But when Kevin's like, hey man, no problem. I'll just put on pause for 2 weeks. Just kind of hit me back up. Like I've had that many times. I just had the conversation the other night when I was coaching. I only coach like one night a week right now, and she was like, I'm injured. I'm like, she's like, I don't want to ask Kevin for any more information. I'm like, that's where Kevin wants to shine. Like that's where he's like, this person that comes in as an elite athlete. That's not, that's just, he can just tell you what to do and you go off on it. But somebody having injuries, and she was like, well, I think I may be done for a little while. I'm like, you need to get with Kevin. He's no problem at all. Yeah. And it kind of makes him like, you know what, I need to go back. And so I think he has a lot more returns than just because that approachability he has when people want to I just need a break. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because when I came to him, I go, hey, I got a weird schedule. I got a little boy, and if I do this, I can't see him. And right now I'm weighing it. And he was like, whatever you got, do what you got to do. And then I'm like, I'm back.
And one thing I really like, I'm pretty sure I've seen it from every coach at the gym, was because obviously we all have the same 24 hours, but not everybody has the same schedule. Yeah, obviously. So you come whenever you can come. So like, there's been people that have shown up late, obviously. I told them. We have like a 4:15 class, but just because you don't show up at 4:15 doesn't mean that you don't get the workout in.
Be honest with you, I've had people come in late, and I'm like, hey, I'm kind of glad you're here late because I know the grind was unbelievable today. And for you to walk in here, it's probably your own like 30 minutes of like just the release of just doing something that just move your body around. And I promote them like, hey, no problem. Like whatever, it's not that big a deal. And I'm pretty sure I saw the conversation on Facebook last week or something like that. Yep. What's the latest, like, because typically they're hour blocks, right? Yeah. What's the latest that somebody's come in?
It's my boy, Jeff Stout. So I've known Jeff since when I was 12 years old. He was on my 9-year-old baseball team. I've known Jeff my whole life. Love Jeff to death. His wife, Courtney's great. Like, they're awesome people, but he is, he's usually just late. Yeah. And, sometimes people are late because of work. And for Jeff, he owns Stout Sun Funeral Home. So, like, you want to talk about busy dude. Like, him and his brother Jake are just swamped. But it was a 6 a.m. class, and he showed up at 6:30, like 6:36 or something. Yeah. We're already working out, and he just shows up and, like, I think hops in the last 10 minutes. And so, we'll give people a hard time. If the repeat offenders, there's a handful of people that they're going to be 7 minutes late just to count for it. Yeah. And they know that too. They know, like, it's just who I am. Mm-hmm. And, so we'll give them a very friendly hard time, but at the same time, it's also like I'm glad you're here. Yeah. So you'll never see us kick somebody out or punish them. I thought of another good bear. He had said somebody's injury. I've heard a lot of people of, I can't do that because I've got bad knees. I've got bad hips. I've got, so I think a barrier could be like injury. Yeah. We've got, you name any injury, we've seen it.
There's always something that you can scale to.
I promise you, there is not a injury that you could come to us with that we can't work around. Mm-hmm. One of our coaches, Coach Courtney, she's like 8 months pregnant right now, and she's just doing what she can. Yeah. Like, she's not going to get any fitter during this time. Her season has changed right now. We have people who are nursing injuries coming back from surgeries. Like, they're doing what they can. So, if a male or female were to come and say, I've got a shoulder issue, like, cool, join the club. Like, so do I. Yeah. Like, we'll figure this out together. So I would say that's another barrier that for us, it's an easy sell, but for them, they just automatically assume I'm hurt, I can't exercise, I'm just not going to.
Yeah. And these are just barriers for entry in general. But sure. I think as from owning a CrossFit gym, would you say, like, people have this preconceived notion of what CrossFit is and what they can and can't do?
Yeah, definitely. I think that people, I usually, when people are new, I usually ask, like, how did you find us? Or how did you hear it? What do you know about CrossFit? And I would say it's changed in the last 3 years. Initially, it was a lot of like, well, I saw the CrossFit Games on YouTube or on ESPN, and I'm like, well, that's not what we do. We're not the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say that that's a thing that can be a dual-edged sword. People see that, they think that's what we do, and they're like, I can't do that. I'm just not even going to bother. When in all actuality, that's the furthest thing that we do.
Yeah.
You know, we exercise, we will compete, and we will do similar things, but we are not the same.
Yeah.
You know, just because, you know, one of my buddies, Billy Lytle, said this once in an interview. You will go out and shoot. You'll go out and shoot baskets with your kid. That doesn't mean you're going to the NBA. Mm-hmm. You'll play catch with your son or your daughter. You'll go swimming, but that doesn't mean that you're trying out for the U.S. trials. You can exercise and not go to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's another barrier. I can't do a pull-up. Cool. We have 200 members at our gym. Less than 50% can do a pull-up.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So, like, that's okay. We have ways to teach you to get stronger. You don't have, there's no entry. There's no, you must be this tall to ride to do fitness, CrossFit or anything. Like there is no, and again, if we want to tie back to Christianity or religion, if you try to start a relationship with Jesus, he's not going to be like, well, tell me what you've done wrong first, and then I'll dictate if we can start this or not. It's come as you are, and then we'll figure it out. And so that's another misconception is I can't do this, therefore I can't do CrossFit. Well, that's not true at all.
Yeah,
Misconception is that CrossFit is dangerous. And I hear that outside of like the gym, people come there and say, I learned about this, but if you're like, hey, you do CrossFit, that's probably why you got these injuries. I'm like, no, it's just because either I kind of went too hard, that's my own fault. But, you know, if you walked across that street, it's dangerous. But if I told you to do it during the daylight with the reflective vest on with signals, you know, it'd be safe. But telling my son to go walk across that street is very dangerous. So the modifications that we have there, and scaling options, is you can take full advantage of it. Yep. That's
the only way to guarantee it. Like, yeah, we'll hear that too. CrossFit's dangerous. That's a barrier for people. Like, it's dangerous. I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, so is driving a car, I guess, and so is, you know, walking across the street. You know, the only way to guarantee you're not going to get hurt is to live in a bubble. You know, now CrossFit can be dangerous if you do it incorrectly or you are not being smart and you don't have good mechanics and good movement pattern, but you can also get hurt running, and you can also get hurt doing, you know, playing pickup tennis or pickleball.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'll hear that too. And that's usually like it's a risk reward kind of thing, I think.
So if men are looking to get into fitness, not necessarily like CrossFit or going to the gym to like lift heavy or like, but what areas would you suggest that they focus on? Like, because I think CrossFit, what I like about it is it's functional fitness.
Sure.
So it's a lot of aspects that we deal with on a day-to-day life, but
yeah, I mean, I won't make this a plug. I don't care. Like, I don't care.
it is a plug.
Yeah. I mean,
We're kind of biased.
yeah, I mean, I'm obviously biased and we can talk off air, but no, I mean, if I'm telling you, like there's a million ways that somebody can work out, and it does not matter what you're doing. And I think, you know, if you're going to be the man of the house, I do think that it's important to lead by example in a lot of ways. And I feel like being physically fit and healthy is an important one to have. And I'm trying to make sure I don't eat my words, but I want to make sure that people understand that it does not matter what you do so long as you're doing something to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be the strongest person in the gym. You don't have to be the fastest person in the gym, but you need to be in the gym doing something for you, because then that will trickle into your family.
And it could be something like even like playing with your children or grandchildren. I mean, it's a physical activity. You're up, you're moving,
But in order to play with them,
you have to.
Yeah, like, you know, if I want to go to, if anybody, I've never been to Disney World, but I've heard people, they walk 12 miles in a day.
Don't go.
Well, you better be like, or, you know,
That's true.
What if you if you walk 12 miles and then you're so sore the next day that you're like, I can't move. Well, shame on you, because your kid still wants to go out and play, but you're going to have to tell him or her, sorry, daddy can't. And if that's the case, then shame on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have a question for both of you. So me, I'm not a person who really works out just
Yeah.
because I don't. I choose not to work out just because I don't really see myself doing that. But
Okay.
yet, I say I work out by just going to work because I lift heavy stuff at work. And I also play golf, and I like to walk while playing golf. So is there other methods people can choose if they're like me? They just choose not to do the weightlifting and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, simple things would be like parking far away and walking. You know what I mean? Like taking the stairs and not the elevator, or
I choose to walk 9 holes instead of ride 9 holes.
yeah. I mean, those are simple things. We say that to our nutrition clients: make better choices regularly. Right, that's a better choice. And I'm not saying that people have to lift weights, but if you're always taking shortcuts, sometimes the shortcut turns into the long road by picking by picking the easy route. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with just being active in life. And construction workers, they're some of the strongest dudes out there, and they probably don't go to a gym. That's just they're super strong in that aspect.
But that goes from like not even just being physical, but if I told somebody, hey, I'm thinking about working out, I'm like, okay, I probably wouldn't even work out today. I'd probably, if you're just gonna keep doing what you're doing, it's physically demanding from your job. But then how about you go to bed maybe 20 minutes earlier, and maybe sleep 30 minutes later, and maybe an extra glass of water, and maybe not have a late night snack. And those little things are, because you can't out train your fitness. So, nutrition is the key factor, right? What you put in your mouth every day. But some people are like, hey man, I'm not sure how to even work out. I'm like, don't worry about it this second. Just do the minor things right now first. To just go to, if you went to bed 30 minutes earlier without your phone and maybe slept in 20 more minutes later, it's a huge improvement to your fitness in general. I mean, you maybe get the spark to go out and actually get more physical exercise, but you may be able to perform at work if you're a construction worker better than you did yesterday. So, I mean, I've known a lot of people that are stronger than ox, and they can turn a bolt, I mean, way better than any kind of wrench, because their hands are just so powerful and so strong. A lot of people are a lot stronger than I am just going to day-to-day work compared to what I do for a living. So just those little things can help out just in your mental and physical well-being.
As far as motivation, like what would you guys say is like your personal motivation, or what could somebody use as their motivation to get on like a regular regimen, especially like with somebody has a busy life? I mean, we all have pretty busy lives nowadays. We're pretty nonstop on the go. What do you guys use as your motivation, and what are some other examples that somebody might be able to use?
I try to lead by example more than anything. How could I get away with telling somebody to do something if I'm not doing it? Like, go to the gym. I might be at the gym, but if I'm not exercising, how am I going to get to Charlie and be like, "Hey man, I want you to row hard." And he's like, "But you didn't even work out today." So, for me, I want to lead by example. I know for others, they want to exercise for their own personal health. They want to exercise for their family. They want to exercise for a number of reasons. You use the word discipline, and we talk all the time at our coaches meetings and on our members page. Like, motivation is
Never there, really.
Yeah, like motivation will come and go, and it is gone more than people think. Mm-hmm. We tell people a lot, like, if you're gonna only work out when you're motivated, that's not gonna pan out. You're not motivated to go to work every day. I can almost promise you that. I don't know what you do for work, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say you're not like motivated to go to work. You're disciplined to go to work. You understand that if you don't go to work, there are repercussions. Mm-hmm. The same thing can go with fitness and exercise. And again, not even CrossFit, but if you don't take care of yourself physically and you're not disciplined to do that, there will be repercussions at some point. You will become overweight. You will have high blood pressure. You will have clogged artery. There's repercussions if you're not taking care of yourself. And I think that far too often people think like, oh, I'll deal with that later. Well, later is going to be here a lot faster than you think if you don't take care of yourself. So, my motivation is more than likely like just being disciplined enough to understand that like I might not want to do this, but if I don't, it's going to cost me something.
I look at like mental toughness, man. Like, man, the first person I'm going to lie to is myself. As soon as I wake up, say I'm not going to go. Or I'm going to be like, not motivation to my own self though, but like, I love the fact when I hear some people talk about and they say it and they mean it, that because I'm going to do this because I said I was going to do it. You know what I mean? So that motivation that's where I guess my motivation is just towards myself. Is like I said I was going to do it. I said I'd be proficient at my weapon. I said I'd be professional at my job. I said I was going to do this. I said I was going to do that. But the first thing I have to do in the morning is like, am I going to literally lie to myself the first thing I'm going to do today? Or am I just going to get up and do it? So it's kind of like everything else will take care of itself. I take care of myself first, right? So
Yeah.
It's like a battle between my ears every single morning though. But I'm like, man, if I get up and do it, then the day will be a lot better though. But like I said, I was going to do it, so I'm going to get up.
As far as finding motivation, we can dive into somebody's motivation and figure out why they're trying to do what they're doing. Everybody's motivated for something, and you just got to find out what that is. And once you have that, then you need to tap into that. Everybody has a reason why if you were to ask anybody that's at the gym, whatever gym they're at, there's a reason why they're there. Mm-hmm. That's probably their motivating factor. And when that motivation is gone, that's when you'll see what happens. They're either going to leave the gym or they're going to stay. And then that's when discipline kicks in. But everybody at some point is motivated. There are times when I'm motivated to work out, when I'm excited and I'm here for it. And then there's times where I'm not. And that's sometimes when you have your best workouts.
Yeah.
Because you just did something hard, and there's something about doing hard things that make you physically stronger, mentally stronger, and it's just better for you. But if I were to give somebody any advice to like how to find motivation, music, make a play, we had a saying in the Marines that false motivation is motivation. Like,
yep.
Tell yourself you're motivated, fake it. Like, bring unnecessary energy, and then like see what happens. And then the other, I'll finish with this from a motivation sense, is if you are in an environment where there are people that are motivated, sometimes that leaks into you.
I think that ties in with that false motivation is motivation. Because like say, like if somebody, even though might be faking it, like you're forcing yourself to do it, you're acting like you're motivated, that could bleed over to the next person who might be struggling with that motivation.
If I see somebody just kicking butt, and I'm like, man, that's awesome.
That's contagious.
Like that might kick me into gear a little bit. So, being around like-minded people, working out by yourself is great, but that's not for me. I can't do that. Mm-hmm. Like I have to be around like-minded people, and that helps me either keep me accountable or motivates me. Right? I see, Jasmine kicking butt. I want to be around that. I see Jeff Hendershot kicking butt. I want to be around that, and that motivates me to be a better athlete, person, XYZ.
Yeah, I would say for me personally, like after I got out of the Army, I kind of did the opposite of what I should have done. Like, I don't have to work out every day now, or I kind of started getting sedentary, and then that, like you said, it sneaks up on you. And it got to the point where, like, I would go to the gym for a little bit, and I wouldn't develop the habit, and I'd fall off of the habit, and then I'd try to go back into the gym, and then I'd just fall off. It just got to the point where, I was just completely unhappy with myself, both physically, mentally, everything. And then that became the priority for me, was getting myself right, both physically and mentally. So just hitting the weights out in the garage every day, even though if you don't want to, you got to look at your goal that you have in mind. Like for me, it was just, I was sick of the status quo of where I was at, and I wanted it to change. And if it's important to you, you'll make it a priority. Excuse me. And I always say, like, if you look at what somebody makes a priority in life, you'll see what's important to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that.
So if it's truly something that you want, you have to make it a priority. So as far as fitness goes,
I think anything goes.
In my mind.
Yeah. I think that goes for anything.
But if you want it to stick, you have to make it a priority. So whether it's those 5 a.m. groups, they're waking up, man, I don't want to go to the gym today. I could just hit snooze and get an extra, half hour sleep before I got to get up for work or whatever. But no, I'm going to force myself to go. And most of the time, those people are feeling better after that 1 hour workout at 5 a.m. Than what they were if they would hit that snooze 5-6 times.
Yep. I would say it'd be a little hard. I mean, you guys come from like military backgrounds a bit. I can see it'd be hard. I've never felt this in my entire life though, but like my job demands it, and I represent every officer out here in the United States every single day that wear the badge. So I see people that if they went to a job and they got to sit behind a computer, I'm like, it would be difficult. I get it a little ways, but I'm like, maybe just changing something very, very small. Not like going to the gym for an hour and a half every single day. Like that'd be difficult, especially when you go sitting behind a computer and you're like, man, my back I ain't moved or done nothing. But in law enforcement, you're you're out and about. You got a ton of freedom. You go out to calls, and when you put your uniform on, you feel a type of way, and you want to represent it to the highest capacity. But I can see sometimes where people get a little up. It becomes unmotivational to get up and just go sit at a computer every single day. So you got to kind of, find your why. My thing is right now is just my son. It's like, he's everything to me. I think about him every single day, all day long, and thinking about like, man, I want to be my son's hero for as long as I can. What does that take? Everything that I don't want to do.
And then you want to set a good example for them as well, because you don't want them to look onto fitness like in a negative aspect or think that it's not important.
Yeah.
You want to set that, good example.
I love the fact that everything that you want comes with a price. If I want to be a good dad, it comes with a price.
Yeah.
I'm about to say no. If I want to be a good person, it comes with a price. A lot of times I have to do things that everybody else is doing I can't do. Be a good at my job, it's going to come with a price. Being physically fit, it's going to come with a price. It's not easy. But knowing like if I'm doing something, I can always be that person that's not doing anything. If you don't do anything every single day, I can be you right now. Yeah. This second I can be you. But I like the fact that sometimes when I'm like, hey, I'm physically able to do all this stuff, that it'd be difficult to be me. But I paid the price. I just didn't wake up one day and I'm like, because I come from bad genes, man. Like I got a lot of people in my family have heart disease, and I'm like, I got to, like, if I want to be with my son, that's where I want to happen. Or if I don't do anything physical, then that's what's going to happen to me. Yeah. And so it's like every day it's like, okay, what's my son expect from me? You know what I mean? He expects me to be this way. He doesn't know anything different. So it's easy motivation for me because of my job, but also I'm a dad. And everybody's not a dad, and not everybody has a job that's physically demanding that it should be. But
I've seen it said where like being a good dad is hard. Being a poor dad is going to be hard. Like on the relationship and stuff like choose your hard that you want to do. Being physically fit is hard. Being overweight is hard. It's going to be hard on your body. It's going to be hard on your health. Choose your hard. Yeah. And you just got to, like I said, you just got to find your why, find what's important to you, and then let that be your motivation. Motivation is going to come and go, but you got to think of the end goal.
Yeah. I saw a good quote. Hard is hard. I'm going to butcher it, but it was essentially like, being strong is hard. Also, being in a wheelchair is hard, or being on medication is hard, or being in the nursing home is hard, or having a heart attack and now your family has to take care of you is hard. Like, choose your hard. Yeah. Like, kind of puts things into perspective that being healthy doesn't have to be hard, or, being fit doesn't have to be hard in the sense of you're taking care of yourself. But if you do nothing, you're causing problems for others down the road. Yeah. And that's the last thing I think that most guys want to do. If you were to ask any man, do you want to cause problems for your family because of your health? The answer is going to be no. Well, let's get ahead of that curve.
I think it's a good segue to this one is then how do you overcome discouragement or burnout when you're in your fitness routine? Because it's going to happen.
Show up the next day.
Yeah, just
force yourself.
Literally, like I said, I was going to be there tomorrow. Yeah, I got to be there tomorrow. Like I'm not going to lie. The first person is going to be me in the morning. Like it sucks. I'm like, am I laying in bed? I'm like, oh my gosh, man, I don't want to get back up. I'm like, if I fail at this, just me and myself talking early in the morning, I'm like, gosh, dang, how's that rest of the day going to be though? But just showing up. You just have to just show up. Just show up to the front door. The hardest part about any of this stuff is getting to the front door. Yeah. I promise you that, because I've been there a million times. I'm like, I do not want to be here. I'm like, well, I've seen Kevin before, like kind of take a deep breath in his truck, and he's like, here we go. But then it's like you walk in, it's like the CrossFit world is everybody gets these jitters and they don't want to do the workout. But as soon as they say 3, 2, 1, and they say go, it just flushes out of the way. Mm-hmm. So it's like, man, if you just get here. That's it. That's all I ask you to do is just get here. And before you know it, it's already over.
Yeah.
But that's why I like the CrossFit aspect. If I had to go there and like get my music going and go do like at the YMCA and then try to get some and then try to figure out my routine. I know it's always a plug for the CrossFit though, but like you have coaches there to help you out. You have other people there to help you out. Like today, I walk in, all the equipment's laid out. I don't think about anything. He just tells me where to go.
Yeah.
So I always promoted a ton. I'm like, you know how much money? Like if you did personal training, I'd charge you $75 an hour, and then I do with the equipment, and then I have to do anything else. I'm like, you walk through the front door, it's all ready to go. And not even that, you have people that are super motivated. I mean, you have people that are pregnant. I walked in there today and somebody's in a wheelchair. I'm like, man, what problems do I got? Exactly. I got 0 issues today, none. And yet people there are still getting after it. I'm like, that's motivation to me in a way. Yeah. I'm like, if I just get to the gym, I'm going to have plenty of motivation because I know she's twice my age. He has an injury. He just got done being sick. They can't use their legs. I'm like, very easy for me.
Yeah, I mean, burnout's going to happen in everything in life. Everything. Your marriage, your relationship with God. Like, you're going to get burned out on everything at some point. And if you haven't yet, just stick around and it'll get there. Mm-hmm. With your job, like, you're going to get burned out. But what are you going to do? Just stop? You know, like it sounds silly. Like, I'm just going to stop. Like, what is that teaching anybody? To just stop because I'm tired, mm-hmm. or stop because I'm over it. Adjust your mindset. Talk to somebody and say, like, man, I'm really getting. I've done it before. I've talked to coach before. Like, I'm just getting burned out, and they help kind of reel you in. And they, talking with somebody about that stuff. I would say if you're getting burned out, like, keeping that stuff bottled up isn't going to help anybody. Isn't going to help you, and that's probably like a guy thing. Guys tend to keep their problems to themselves, suffer in silence, and it's weak to talk. And, mm-hmm. I've done years, almost 3 years now of, marriage counseling, and, guys, we tend to, if there's a problem, we bottle it up and we figure it out to ourselves. Well, like, that's not helping your spouse. That's not helping your marriage. So if you want to carry that over into the fitness realm, if you're becoming burned out, go tell somebody. Like, have somebody help change your workouts. Have somebody help change your routine so you don't get burned out. Mm-hmm. If you're beating your head against the wall will win. So you've got to turn yourself around and figure out how to, and not be afraid to ask for that and ask for help to do that.
Luckily, I got a pretty good support system because I think I came to you before. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm kind of like, I'm there. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm like, I just gotta get through the front door. But I mean, I think for guys in general, like having a buddy check, because like whatever I'm about to tell you, I can motivate you for the next, 2 weeks, but I'm going to need that motivation in 2 weeks. Like, whatever I'm telling you, I need you to tell me here in 2 weeks what's going to happen. So
it goes back to that iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Like you feed off of each other.
Yeah. So finding somebody you like to work out with, or it's like-minded, that you guys have similar interests. And because he may be motivated that day, and then the next day you're like, dude, I can't get there. And the next thing he's like, hey, get there. And you're like, okay, I can't let him down in a way. So Kevin does really good with, creating events for people that can do buddy system, for sure.
I would say it's also like small victories. Like I like to talk about that. Like whenever I talk to somebody, if they're asking me about, going to the military or getting through basic training, they kind of they'll kind of laugh when I explain to them, like, well, when I was doing it or anything hard, it's about small victories. Wake up, make your bed, do that. That's the first victory, right? Make it to breakfast. All you gotta do is make it to breakfast. Yeah. Once you're at breakfast, you get done. All right, cool. Make it to lunch.
Dude, exactly.
Make it to dinner. So when you wake up, make it to the gym.
That's what I think about. Yeah, just literally get up and put your clothes on.
Yep. It's it. Yeah. If you get out of bed, that's the biggest hurdle, I think, especially if you're gonna try to do it in the morning. Getting up, getting out of bed. Once you're out of bed,
2 feet on the floor.
Yep.
Yeah, give reason to swing feet.
Chances of you actually laying back down into bed after you've already swung both feet.
I've told people that before. I said, if you put both feet on the ground and you stand up out of bed and you stand there for a couple of seconds and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go back to bed, then go back to bed. But if you get your feet on the ground you're probably going to make it.
Yeah. So fitness is not just for building a strong body. So how can men use fitness to build strong, lasting relationships with other men or within the Christian community?
Some of the best dudes that I've run into, at my gym are strong men in their faith and in their relationships with their spouses. And you're not going to convince me that there's not some correlation in that. CrossFit isn't just for religious people necessarily, but CrossFit is for people who are willing to do hard things. And when people are willing to do hard things, that includes having, strong relationships. And so I think, for men, it's easy to get in your own world and put your headphones in and not talk to anybody because I don't need help. I don't need help. I don't need help. Like, yeah, you do. Like, I promise you, every man needs help somewhere along the way. But far too often we've been told, suffer in silence, bottle it up, like, figure it out. You're a man. Don't have emotions. Well, like, that's not how we're wired. We're all wired the same way. It's just how it comes out sometimes. And so, I think for men, having a support system and having guys that you can lean in on, is underutilized and undervalued thing in our society.
How can men use their physical health to be more effective in serving others in the church and in the community?
I mean, you're looking at cops right now. I'm looking at a cop. So if he's not fit, we've got tons of firemen and policemen and deputies and military. So like if they are staying actively fit, they're keeping we have a better chance of keeping our community safe. Mm-hmm. If the fire department, if God forbid they have to go into my house and save my son and they're physically fit enough to do so, like, then we're doing our part. That Ainsley's Angels event that we just did, God blessed me with 2 strong enough legs to push, Sweet Girl 4 miles. Like, that's using my fitness to help others. Mm-hmm. Being able to put on events, to be able to raise, we do a fundraiser for veterans and that we work out and raise money for them. And, without physical fitness, we don't do a lot of those things. So, I would say that, while it's, exercising, we're able to utilize it in the real world for a good cause.
Yeah, Kevin does really good with all that, trying to serve others. Even though I tell him all the time, I go, dude, you do a lot of things that you probably don't need to do. But it's like a service to other. I mean, he was in the military for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. Right? So, I mean, with law enforcement, it's like, man, I've always felt like first class ticket to heaven would be to serve others. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. But with that said, I mean, I'm able to help other people and motivate them by showing that I'm physically able to take care of myself first. And then the law enforcement aspect, I mean, I just think that being an example for the colleagues that I work with every single day, like, this is where you make your real money at most of the time with the physical fitness. But like, I tell people at the department all the time, you obviously work 8 hours, but 16 hours is where I make my real money. I'm not a rich man because I go to work every single day. I'm a rich man because when I go home, I greet my family. I take care of my house, my cars, how I sleep, how I eat. This is just 8 hours of fun, man. I get to go to work. I don't have to. It's not like I have to go to work and I'm like, I hate it. Like, I love my job. I think about it all the time. I think that in the end of it, when it's all said and done, my dad and my son goes, hey, what'd you do for a living? I'm like, man, I was able to sacrifice myself at any moment, any day for somebody else. I'm like, I hope I'm your hero for the rest of my life, for the rest of your life at least, though. So just a service not only to anybody else besides my family, but everyone else out here in this world. But I mean, Kevin does a great job with serving. He does a lot of things that serve other people and give them motivation to do something. I'm like, there's always that gym's always crowded with things going on. I'm like, I guarantee it gets tired some days.
What advice would you give to men who may be hesitant or unsure about starting up a fitness regimen?
Start.
Just
You're not going to, I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to become healthier. You're going to have a better lifestyle. I say that might have come off a little abrasive, and that's not my true thoughts on it, but the benefits of exercising far outweigh not. on so many levels, and you can almost just put a period on that, and like that has enough truth to stand on its own. And again, while I own a CrossFit gym, I don't care what you do, right? Like walk 9 holes instead of ride 9 holes, or park far away and walk to the grocery store. Take the stairs. Be as physically active as you can, because God gave you the ability to. So why wouldn't you? And maybe that's just because I've been an athlete my whole life, or I was in the military, and now I have a CrossFit gym. So to me, it's second nature. Like, why wouldn't I exercise? Why wouldn't I find something? And I recognize for some, it's not always that easy, but I would tell somebody, like, or I might even flip it, like, well, why don't you?
What do you say at the gym? I forget. It's like you're never gonna be mad that you actually work.
Yeah,
out.
like nobody ever leaves the gym
Mad,
angry that they worked out. Like, you never leave the gym and be like, oh man, I wish I didn't come. Sometimes the workouts are hard and you're like, wow, that was really hard. But you will always, like, unless you get hurt, nobody ever regrets working out.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever like, oh, that was dumb, I don't want to do that again.
I don't think I've
It's
ever.
usually the opposite. Usually, if I hear it happens all the time. If not to pick on the 5 a.m., but if the 5 a.m. class was the only class you were able to work out at, and it's happened before, where they set their alarm for 4:30 and then they cancel it, when they wake up for the day, they have regret of not exercising.
There should be no regret just starting. I mean, you're not gonna regret starting.
There's a Chinese proverb that says the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
The next best time is right now. But I think far too often, men, women alike, it's too late. I can't do it now. Well, like, yeah, best case scenario, you started 10 years ago. Well, we didn't. So
Let's start now.
let's start now.
Misconception is that people think that they go work out and they got to look a certain way, or be a certain way, or act a certain way, or look a certain way, or or perform a certain way. It's like getting out and walking, or getting out and doing something like taking the long way to the grocery store, like parking way in the back of the parking lot, or taking the stairs. Like, that is exercise. That is doing something. Like, don't get too involved with, I have to look a certain way because the social media tells me I have to look a certain way, or I look at professional athletes and I admire basketball players and they got to look a certain way. That's not the case for you. Everyone's different. Everyone's got different kind of anatomy, and for you to go out there and just do something that's good for you, that's a win for you that day. And then, like I said, just starting the simple things of maybe an extra bottle of water, and then maybe not those chips at the night, whatever it is it's going to be, though, just 20 more extra minutes of sleeping. I mean, those are huge victories that you don't have to think about, that I have to beat this professional athlete just because I started exercising today.
Those are great points, because like most people, when they think of fitness, they want to think of the physical part of it. They don't want to think about, or they don't necessarily think about just the taking care of your body aspect of it. So drinking more water, or like I said, just getting some extra sleep at night. Those could be, key changes that you need to at least get you going.
Yeah. Just because I go to church one day and I think my relationship with Jesus is going to be absolute, or it's the best ever. It's not this, it's the process of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The process of knowing a relationship with him. But, and just same with fitness, it's not the total outcome. Like, I don't think, I think about myself and I'm like, man, I don't think I'll ever get to where I thought I can, picture myself at a certain time in my age. I'm like, but I enjoy the process of it. I like getting up and going to the gym and seeing my friends and having a good time, and then going about my day. And it kind of starts off my day doing the first thing that's the hardest thing at the beginning.
Yeah. All right. Well, I like to end each one when I have the guests just kind of like last little piece of advice, last little tidbit. So is there anything you want to give to somebody who's listening, whether they're starting out, whether they've been working out for 30 years? Is there any little bit of tidbits that you want?
In 10 seconds or less, like, exercise is healthy. Mm-hmm. Being fit is healthy. Like, it seems like you have nothing to lose. It like, our bodies are intended to move. So, like, let's move them. You will be healthier for it. You'll be happier. There's more than just the physical side of it that is in it when you exercise. There's so many more benefits of exercising than just being sore. So, you know, if I were to give anybody any advice from a fitness realm, and if you want to tie it into, you know, being spiritual, you read off some good scripture of like, this isn't your body. Like, you don't own your body. Your body is the church I go to, they said a quote like, your body is leased.
Yeah.
Like, my body doesn't belong to me. I should take care of it. It's like, you know, when you lease a vehicle, you got to turn it back in at some point. Eventually we'll turn our body back in over to Jesus. So like, take care of it, you know? So that's what I would say to people of, you know, it doesn't have to be CrossFit Kokomo, but if you want it to be, hit me up, but like, do something. Yeah. Like take care of yourself, stay active, stay moving. And then one of my favorite quotes ever, and I'll finish, let Coach Charlie talk, is, you need to take control of your health before somebody takes control of it for you. Talking about like, if I'm not in control of, if I don't take control of myself right now, eventually a doctor will take control of my health for me. They'll medicate me. They will put me on medicine. I'll be in a nursing, you know, like, so take control of it now before somebody does later.
I like that.
That's a pretty good one, man. I mean, I think about, just to piggyback off of him, because I think about, I go back to like, man, and enjoy the freedom God gave you. And right now, if you're able to move all your fingers and toes and all your limbs, I mean, take full advantage of it. I mean, it's true freedom to go out there and take advantage of whatever the world has to give you, and to be the best person you can for your entire family, to your buddies, and to everyone who's going to receive it. So it's do it today.
Yeah. I would say everybody has like this, whether you're working out on your own at home or you're walking or you're trying to go to a gym. I mean, you got that self-consciousness or you're kind of intimidated or whatever. Everybody has started out somewhere. Nobody has come out of the womb bench pressing 350 and deadlifting 500 pounds. I mean, Paul might have, but, but everybody's had to start somewhere. Chances are they've been right where you are. Nobody's going to judge you when you walk into the gym and you just start, you know, if you're lifting 5-pound dumbbells, great. You're doing something extra. Keep at it. And then it'll get better. Like you will improve every single day, but you have to, like you said, you just have to get started. You have to get in there. Don't worry about what other people are thinking because they're probably glad that you're there.
Yep.
For the most part, nobody's judging you. Oh, look at that person. He's only, you know, bench pressing the bar.
And that goes with I can assure you, your guys' pastor didn't just like one day, like, oh, I'm a pastor now.
Yeah.
It probably started off with their own journey. And then, you know, the doctors didn't just magically put on a stethoscope and send them a doctor. You know, everybody starts somewhere. And where you're starting, everybody at some point, we say all the time, your first day, everybody's had a first day.
Yeah. And don't be afraid of approaching somebody. If you do have questions or if you feel like a little intimidated or you're not sure about something, I guarantee you everybody in that, wherever you're at, they're willing to help you out.
Yep,
That's just the way that the culture is. So
for sure.
All right.
Yep. Yeah,
Well, we'll go ahead and end it there. I appreciate you guys coming out and joining us. Charlie, working with KPD, you guys are always looking for good candidates, right?
Yes, we're always hiring. And if you guys think about being a policeman, you can always get a hold of me, Charlie Forkey, lieutenant with the police department. If you're looking for purpose in your life and looking to do something fun, exciting, and not behind a desk every single day and be able to serve your people, especially the community you grew up in, Kokomo, the police department. I mean, been there my entire life, third generation policeman there. Love where I work, love what I do for a living, and love my purpose in life.
And serving a great community. And even if you're not in the Kokomo area or in the Walton, Galveston area, I mean, there's always a department that's willing or that's looking for good individuals. So if you feel that calling, that service mentality, be sure to reach out. It's never going to hurt.
Just get some basic information. Some things you just don't know about.
Yeah.
And a quick 10-minute conversation with somebody, maybe open your eyes up. And we also, at our department, we do ride-alongs. And so you can kind of come in and then do a, maybe 4-hour, 8-hour ride along with the officer, get and pick their brain about what they do and why they like what their job is and where they came from, and it may fit perfectly in your plans.
Awesome. And Kevin, I think it came up that you own a gym.
Yeah. If you guys didn't know, I own a gym. No, and also, I mean, I told Brad I don't want to make this a plug for my gym. This is just my experience. any gym that you guys go to is better than no gym. Just like any church you go to is better than no church, and any relationship you have is better than no relationship. But I believe in what we do. I believe in the culture that we have and the community that we've got. So yeah, if anybody's ever interested, get a hold of me, get a hold of Brad, shoot us a message on Instagram or Facebook, and if we're not the right fit for you, we'll cheer you on from afar.
So that's CrossFit Kokomo. Do you have like a website that they can go to or
CrossFit-Kokomo.com. And then our email
all the
is
socials?
CrossFit Kokomo Instagram. Email is CrossFitKokomo@gmail.com. And the only thing I'll say and end on is, I assure you, wherever you think you're at is probably better than what you think. So you might think that you're at the bottom of the barrel and you're the worst. Like, I promise you, you're not. Like, you're where you're at, and you'll just grow.
Yeah. And just make sure you take that first step. That's the most important. So get that first step on the journey, and everything else will follow.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
So, all right. Well, thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I enjoyed the conversation, and hopefully the listeners got something out of it. As usual, if you guys enjoyed the content, please like, subscribe, follow the podcast on whatever you're listening to. Please share it. Ultimately, our goal is to just get the word spread. We want to get Jesus Christ spread through all the communities. Ultimately, it's what we're called to do. So, having said that, we'll go ahead and end. And thank you guys for coming out.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you.